On today's episode of Rowdy Riley's Sports Review, I'll be talking about history-making athletes, one of which will join me later as a special guest.
Welcome to the Rowdy Riley Sports Review. My name is Rowdy Riley. Let's get rowdy!
Let's first focus on professional athletes who made history, though. Let's start in the early 20th century. Up until 1902, baseball was probably predominantly played by American men. That is until a man named Luis Miguel Castro became the first Hispanic baseball player to make his MLS debut, which paved the way for countless other Hispanic players. Castro moved from Colombia to the United States when he was 8 years old. No list of history-making athletes would be complete without at least a mention of an MLB player who caused all clubs to universally retire his number. By this point, I've made enough of an introduction, but I'm going to say his name anyway. It's Jackie Robinson. Robinson retired from the league with 1,528 hits and 137 home runs. That's not what makes him a history-making athlete, though. Robinson was the first African-American player in the MLB. As many of you know, there was a movie made about him a few years ago. Pivoting away from baseball, I would like to shed some light on other sports. In 1973, a feat that had never been accomplished in the sport of tennis had happened. That feat was accomplished when Billie Jean King had defeated a man in the Battle of the Sexes. Miss King's opponent was Bobby Riggs. Riggs had said that the women's game was so inferior to the men's that even a 55-year-old like him could beat any young woman. So there was a $100,000 prize put on the match, which King eventually won and put Riggs in his place. Simultaneously, King's win put women in the world of sports. 16 years before the Battle of the Sexes had taken place, a woman by the name of Althea Gibson had won Wimbledon, which is one of the world's foremost tournaments in the sport of tennis. Wimbledon is to tennis as the Triple Crown is to American horse racing. Much like Jackie Robinson, what makes Ms. Gibson special in the sport of tennis is that she also broke the color barrier by becoming the first African American. That's not where it stops, though. She became the first African American woman to win Wimbledon. I have picked up the sport of boxing, and one of the most iconic boxers of all time, may he float like a butterfly in heaven, Muhammad Ali, faced off against a former boxer that is more well known for his flameless grills in one of the most iconic boxing matches of all time, the Rumble in the Jungle. Ali won the match, securing the heavyweight title for a second time. Ali wanted to break international barriers with the match, which I personally think he did. Before I touch on collegiate history makers, I would like to mention one last professional athlete that some younger viewers have probably only heard of. Back in 1997, a young man named Tiger Woods simultaneously became not only the youngest, but also the first black male to ever don the iconic green jacket worn only by winners of the Masters. Here's why Woods was the youngest winner of the Masters ever. He was 21 when he had won the Masters. Yes, you heard me right. 21. Dang. Talk about a major year in his life. Now let's focus on collegiate history makers, of which I'm only going to cover two. These two mid-major collegiate athletes made a name for not only themselves, but the university that they represent. Those of you who know me really well know that I was extremely plugged into the athletics department at Lipscomb University. That is the overarching theme here. There are many people who played for Lipscomb that went on to play in the pros, mostly baseball. However, for the first time, a Lipscomb men's basketball player entered the NBA draft. That man's name is Garrison Matthews. While Garrison's collegiate stats are impressive, nothing can beat the fact that he made program history. Players like Garrison are something to look up to for any young Lipscomb Bison's men's basketball fan. I'm in my mid-20s and I looked up to Garrison for a little bit. Back in the intro, I mentioned that I had a special guest. My special guest's name is Anna Buhigas. She will correct me in just a little bit on the pronunciation of her last name. She plays professionally for the women's squad of Real Betis, which is a first division team in Spain. What makes Anna a history-making athlete is that she was the first ever women's soccer player to ink a professional contract. Let's go talk to her. So now that I have Anna Buhigas, you're going to have to correct me on this, but
that's
Buhigas?
Okay. Yeah, Buhigas, close enough.
Okay. I've got 4 questions for you.
Okay.
What made you want to create a precedent for others to follow?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I guess it started in college at Lipscomb towards the end of my career. And, you know, we obviously during my time at Lipscomb, OB and the team had made huge strides, right? When I first got there, we started kind of from like rock bottom and huge strides. So it wasn't necessarily me, you know, wanting to be the first. It was kind of like the coaches giving me that confidence that, you know, our program is to a point where these girls are good enough and you're good enough, and this is something that could be possible for you. So definitely, I don't know if you've ever met Shannon O'Brien.
Oh, yes, I've met Miss Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon's awesome. So I think just the confidence she gave me working one-on-one with her, you know, every day of my college career, definitely is what pushed me that way. Because I was hesitant at first. And then definitely their encouragement, their support helped.
As kind of a follow-up, did you know any other soccer players from the team that also went professional?
Yeah, I know Olivia Doak. She was there my last year. She's awesome. I know that this was her first year pro, but obviously with what's happening across the world, like we're both kind of in limbo right now of what's going to happen next. So yeah, definitely. And then I know of Jade. She was a year younger than me. she went over there to the Czech Republic, which is always so hard. Like when you go overseas, you never know what situation you're going to find yourself in. So sometimes it can be amazing, and sometimes you get over there and you're like, this is not what I expected. So definitely like hit or miss with some of the girls, but I definitely know of a few that decided to go and try it out.
This will tell you how much research I did in preparation.
Okay.
So, with your degree in Spanish education, how quickly did you have to catch on to the dialect of Spanish in Spain, in Seville?
Right. So I had family in Spain, grew up visiting that area of Spain often. So I was actually really excited about going to Real Betis in Sevilla because it was almost like a hometown for me. And I knew that the language barrier wasn't going to be an issue for me as it was when I was in Italy. And even when I was in Greece, in Cyprus, where like I did not even know the Greek alphabet. So it's completely different. So them being able to go to Spain for me was just huge. And I don't think that I'll play in any other league besides the Spanish league anymore, just because that language barrier, when it's there, it's so tough. So when you do know the language, it makes the transition so much easier. It makes things so much easier.
And then finally, I know you touched on this earlier, but is there anything that OB or Shannon or any of the other coaches taught you that you're applying with your current club?
Yeah, just that I'm good enough to do it, and they definitely supported me and were able to encourage me my 4 years there. I think just a lot of my education and experiences that I had my 4 years at Lipscomb definitely did help me. The 3 coaches that we had, even Klotzy was a coach when I was playing. They all had their time playing pro, and they all shared their experiences. So I think that also helped me in kind of gauging what to expect, what not to expect, and obviously going over there with the confidence that I was, could potentially do it, could be successful at it. So definitely loved them, and that was also appreciated.
That's actually all the questions I have. Thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for doing this.
Hey guys, I need to clear something up before I end the episode. Anna referred to someone called Klotzy. That is actually a nickname for someone named Chris Klotz, who was an assistant coach when Anna first came to Lipscomb. He is now the director for spiritual formation in athletics.
Hey guys, in editing the episode, I realized that I forgot to include someone as a history maker. That person is Casey Alexander, the head men's basketball coach over at Belmont. The reason why he's history making is because he's the first year head coach to take the team to the big dance. He's also the first head coach in 33 years.
My thanks to Anna for joining me. This is Rowdy Riley saying, remember to always stay rowdy!